One of the most overused words in political discussions in modern America is the word fascism. So let's talk about that. Come here. We need to have a chat here. What exactly is fascism? What are the policies behind fascism? When people say fascism, they usually mean there's a mean guy that's in power and I don't like him. But that's not what it is in reality. The problem is that half of this country has been groomed so hard into hating any and everything that's not Team Blue that they will vote for a fascist. If we had a real economics focus in our education system, the things that have been said just in this campaign cycle alone, they would be run out of town because economically speaking, Team Blue might as well be wearing swastikas when it comes to who's fascist and who's not. So when we talk about fascism, let's go through. There's an Austrian refugee. She grew up, and when she was a little girl in Austria, the neighbors took over. You probably heard of them, the Nazis. And so when she came to America, she finally escaped, came to America. She spent the rest of her life warning about, hey, this is what fascism looks like. And so there was a conference where she was spelling it out. And let's look at some of these policies. All right. First off, this hasn't happened yet, but it keeps getting proposed, and it keeps getting proposed more by Team Blue than Team Red. The idea of a national ID card.
So the first thing what happened, we had to carry national ID cards. You could not board a bus, you could not board a train without showing your national ID card. Don't ever let that happen here.
Also, another good sign that you're on the wrong side is if the media agrees with you. These people act like CNN and MSNBC. They're just fighting for the little guy. No, they're a giant evil corporation that's intertwined with the government powers and the corporate elites and the billionaires and whatnot. And if the media, the mainstream media, is on your side, you're probably not on the right side.
Before it hit the street, it was being censored by the government. So the only voice what we had was the government radio station and the government-controlled newspaper.
Gee, in modern America, there is one side that's leaning on the media outlets to censor political speech that's inconvenient. Which side is that? We just heard about it from Mark Zuckerberg this week. Is that Team Red or is that Team Blue? What side are you on? Are you closer to fascists or are you closer to free market capitalist pigs? Next one, this whole focus on equality and universal basic income. They keep trying to pass that in California. They've got like a little tester markets of it. I think they tried in like San Francisco or San Bernardino or some other municipal levels. But that's clearly only being done by Team Blue, not Team Red. What did the fascists do?
Everybody was getting a guaranteed income from the government.
Next one, all these social programs that are always being thrown around. Did the fascists like that too?
To equalize the wealth, those who were on the lower income level, to graduate them up there to an equal level, they got subsidized housing, they got food stamps, they got heating fuel,
lefty policy,
and they got a certain amount of payment from the government for each child.
Wasn't that just proposed like 2 weeks ago?
They equalized the country's wealth by taxing us 70% to bring that level, the lower income level, into an equal level. And that is called socialism.
Okay, so which side? In America, there's one side of the political spectrum that prefers for if you can afford it, and if you're one of the lucky people, the wife stays at home, raise the kids, maybe even homeschools. That's the priority. There's the other side of the aisle. It's like, screw having to spend your time raising your kids. You need to be out in the workforce. You need to be reaching your full potential. A career woman is an independent woman. That's the way to go. What did the Nazis think?
Before Hitler, of course, the moms stayed home. They were good wives, and they raised their families. But under socialism, if you are not in the workforce, you are called a parasite. So the moms were being put out into the workforce. So what happened to the children? child care centers. You could, and it was all free for everybody. You could bring your 4-month-old baby, leave it there 24 hours, 7 days a week. As long as you left your child there, the better the government liked it.
Which side of the aisle is proposing free child care? There is one. Which side is that? Is that the evil far-right MAGA crowd? Because remember, fascism gets called far-right all the time. It's not. It's not right in any sense of the word other than they don't hate their country. That's the only policy I can see that overlaps with the right spectrum here in America. Next up, we have an issue going on right now where one side wants to take all religious instruction out of education. In fact, they've already accomplished it mostly. And there's the other side, Team Red, that's trying to put it back in. They're trying to put like the 10 Commandments on the wall. They're trying to allow Bible instruction in school here in Texas. Where did the Nazis stand on that one?
We had a very good educational system in Austria before Hitler. I went to public school. We had a very good curriculum. We even prayed in public school before class and after class. That morning, after the election, I walked into my classroom and the crucifix was gone. And the teacher said, this morning, we greet each other, Heil Hitler. And she said, we don't pray anymore. We sing Deutschland, Deutschland über alles. Germany above everybody. And she also said we would not have twice a week religious education anymore either.
Which one sounds like Team Red? Which one sounds like Team Blue? There's one that's fighting any instance of religion anywhere in the public sphere, especially in education. They'll even fight against a football coach who prays at the middle of a football field after a game outside of school hours. Which side? Which side is more fascist? Is fascism more right or more left? And it's starting to bother me that the lefties are always calling the righties fascist. And whenever I read reports on CNN or Dallas Observer or wherever else, they're always referring to fascism as a far-right ideology. It's not. And if anything, the right needs to be throwing that word at the fascists on a regular basis. Because so far, we haven't found anything, economically speaking, that divorces the fascist from the modern Democrat Party. And then the next one. That's another issue that we have going on now that this probably wouldn't have applied 20 years ago, but it applies now. Who's trying to get between parents and their kids? Who's the ones that are trying to have secret conversations with kids without their parents knowing? Who's trying to keep a secret? Who's passing laws to say that they don't have to tell the parents? They can keep secrets from parents because the government workers know better than the parents. Well, that's Team Blue. What did the Nazis do? We
were being told not to listen to our parents. They were just old-fashioned old fogies. They did not understand the young people. Only Hitler did. So don't listen to your parents anymore. And besides, you had freedom and you had rights. So our parents could not tell us anymore when to come home at night. We could decide that for ourselves.
Yeah, you can decide for yourself what your gender is going to be, or if you want to go through puberty, or if you want to have any perfectly fine working body parts removed. That's not for the parents. You know better than your parents. Don't listen to them. They're evil. They're wrong. They don't know. They're just old fuddy-duddies. Who's doing that now? Who sounds like the fascist? For the next one, another economic policy. That was social policy, economic policy. Who's always talking about nationalizing stuff, nationalize the oil industry? Which side is that? And then what did the Nazis do? Who likes nationalizing major industries?
Hitler also nationalized our car industry. Also, Hitler nationalized our banks. Hitler said, those greedy banks.
Ooh, those greedy banks, those evil corporations acting all corporation-y, taking advantage of people. Let's come to the modern Democrat Party. And I'm not talking about some weirdo that I got off the street. I'm talking about mainstream elected politicians. This is Maxine Waters talking about nationalizing the oil industry to oil executives in a congressional hearing.
And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
Yeah, that's called socializing. Kamala Harris has supported, socializing major industries, most notably medicine, socialized healthcare, universal health, communist healthcare.
To reiterate, you support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's just do socialized medicine. We also have, more specifically, when this lady was talking about Hitler's hatred of the banks and nationalizing them and putting them out of business, Maxine Waters again with the mainstream Democrat platform.
It's time for the bully pulpit of the White House to bring the gangsters in, put them around the table, and let them know that if they don't come up with loan modifications and keep people in their homes that they've worked so hard for, we're going to tax them out of business.
Next thing, what happened, he nationalized our healthcare system.
What?
We had a reasonable good healthcare system, which was financed by private insurance. We had good hospitals, we had good doctors, and everybody was reasonably well being cared for. This all changed very fast.
Let me go ahead and just reiterate that for the people in the back. Germany has had socialized medicine, universal health care. That's what the Democrats want right now. Germany's had it since 1941. And who was the guy who brought it to them? None other than Hitler, the worst person in the history of humanity, probably. Who likes OSHA? You like OSHA? I've railed against OSHA. In fact, I said last week OSHA should be disbanded. Who likes OSHA? Who wants to expand OSHA? Bernie Sanders loves OSHA. Did Hitler like OSHA?
They would go into the businesses and snoop around what they could find under the auspices of health and safety. Here we call it OSHA.
Next one, on abortions. Now, Hitler didn't like abortions for Aryans, but for, undesirables. Oh, he loved it.
Abortions were highly illegal. Hitler wanted a lot of babies, blonde hair and blue eyes, the master race. But when a couple was not 100% Aryan and the woman was pregnant, she was forced to have an abortion.
One side's on of our political spectrum loves euthanasia. Which side is that? What did the Nazis like?
We also had euthanasia, killing people.
Here's another one. Hitler used a network of informers.
A network of informers.
Sorry, I'm just going fast.
We could not trust our neighbors. We could not trust our friends. We couldn't trust anybody.
Who set up a snitch line during COVID so you could inform on your neighbors who weren't following the COVID protocols? Tim Walz. And then there was one more, of course, the obvious one for most of us, gun control.
We also had gun control. The government said that children were playing with guns and we had hunting accidents, people accidentally shooting each other, and we had criminals again.
Same argument
murderers. The only way that they could track the murderer was by the serial number of the gun. So bring your gun to the police station, then we can register the serial number.
Yeah, and then you know where that leads. And at the end, she says, whatever you do, keep your guns.
We registered our guns. Keep your guns and buy more guns. And
you heard from a refugee who escaped Nazism herself, lived it herself. Was that far right? Or was that just regular left? Was that mainstream left? I mean, everything but the gas chambers is in the Democrat Party platform right now.